Is your Google Drive in need of some spring cleaning? Here are a couple ways you can begin. You can organize your files into folders, you can create subfolders, you can color code your folders, or you can use stars to favorite files for quick retrieval. One way to organize your Google Drive is by creating folders within your drive and organizing your files within those folders. If you'd like to create a file in your drive, make sure you click on My Drive, and that will ensure that the folder you're going to create will be placed there. Once you're in My Drive, click Create and then Folder. For example purposes, I'm going to create a sample class called Homeroom, and this might be where I would place all of my files that I create for use within this class any year I might want to use them. So once I click Create, that folder will occur under my Google Drive in alphabetical order. You can see when I click on the Homeroom folder, there are no files in that folder at this point. If I'd like to put files in that folder, I can do that in several different ways. So I'm just going to scroll down to another folder where I have some files I'd like to move. One way I can move those files into that Homeroom folder is simply by clicking on it and dragging it over to that folder. Now once I click on my Homeroom folder, you can see that that file has been placed there. I'm going to go back to where my documents are that I want to move and show you another way. Another way to move a file into a folder is simply by clicking on the checkbox next to it and then clicking on the folder icon, which will give you the option to move that file to any of the folders in your drive. If I click my Homeroom folder and move, that file will be moved there. Another way to easily do that is just by right-clicking on the document you wish to move and then clicking Move To and following the same process we just did. A third way to move it there is simply by opening the document itself that you'd like to move, and once you're within the document, you can click on the folder icon at the top, and then you can click on Organize. And at this point, you'll be brought to that same pop-up box where you can move the document into the folder, and once you click Move, then it will be placed within that folder. Another way I can organize my Google Drive is by creating subfolders, possibly by year, class, unit, etc. within my Google Drive. We're going to take our homeroom class that we started with, and I'd like to create some subfolders within homeroom. So I want to make sure that I'm in the homeroom folder, and that's indicated because it's highlighted in red over here on the left-hand side, so I can ensure that's where I am. Once I'm in my homeroom folder, I'm going to click Create, and I'm going to click Folder, and I am going to make a 2014-15 folder. Once I do that, I'm actually going to create some subfolders within 2014-15. So I'm going to open up that folder. Again, I'm going to click Create, Folder, and I'm going to make one folder for students. I'm going to make one folder for class to view. And I'm going to make another folder for class to edit. Once I have these folders, I can set the sharing permissions to reflect what I want students to be able to do with any of the files within that folder. For example, for class to view, I can click on that and I can go to the sharing settings and I can do a couple different things. Number one, I can change this to anyone with the link can view, or I can specifically add student email addresses from this class, click on Can View, and send them a message that now they have access to this folder that they can put in their own Google Drive to view any documents that I might have for this class. Once you've changed the sharing privileges on the folder, this folder icon will have a little person appear in it so you can see that it's a shared folder. I might want to do the same thing with the class to edit documents, where I might want to put any documents that I want the entire class to be able to edit. In my students folder, here's where I would create subfolders for every single one of my students in that class. It will allow me to be able to share documents directly with a specific student so that only that student and I can view or edit or comment on those documents. Another way to organize your Google Drive is by color coding folders. You might color code folders to identify certain subject areas or purposes for certain folders. In order to change the color of a folder, if you look at the folder list under Drive, you'll notice that when I hover over the folders, an arrow appears to the right. If I navigate to that arrow and click on it, you'll see that I have the option to change the color of the folder. Maybe I want to make every folder that students can edit a certain color, so I would go over and identify the color, and that would change the color of that folder in your folder list and as the header when you open that particular folder. If I wanted to change another folder in a different way, I could again hover over that folder, but this time I'm going to right click and it brings me to the same menu to change the color of the folder. Maybe I want to make every folder where students can only view files a certain color. Once I do that, again, you can see that that folder changes in my folder list as well as the header when I click on the folder. A third way to change the color of a folder is to navigate to the folder it resides in, and you'll see that the list of folders appears here with checkboxes. If I click on a checkbox where I want to change the color of a folder and click on More, you can see that that same menu appears where I can change the color of the folder to any color I wish. One last way to organize your drive is to add a star to either a file or a folder to make it a favorite. And once you do that, that file or folder will appear in your starred files for easy retrieval. You might do this for files that you're in progress working on so that you can find them very easily, or if it's something that you refer to often, you could also put a star next to it. In order to star a document, you can do that again in several ways. One way is to find the document and simply click on the star that appears next to it. If you'd like to put a star next to an entire folder, you can do the same thing. Again, you can also add a star by putting a check mark next to it and going up to the More option. Since this one has a star, I have the option of removing the star, or I can add a star. If I would like to right-click on it, that same menu pops up where I can remove or add a star. And the same thing happens with any of the files or folders that appear on the left under your Drive list. If you'd like to go find the starred documents that you've put in your starred folder, all you do is collapse My Drive and you can see you're brought to your other Drive options and one of them is starred. If I click on starred, you can see that the folder and the document that I added to my starred files appears there for easy retrieval. If you'd like to refer back to any of the spring cleaning tips, please access this menu and click on the option that will bring you back to that position in the video. Thanks for watching. Slam!